Hey everybody, welcome back to Ragged Edge Lure Works. My name is Don, and today, before we get painting more baits, I had a viewer reach out to me and say, how do you prep your bills and your baits prior to painting? So I'm going to show you that right now. So what I have here is a crankbait blank that I got off of Amazon. I like this one. It's a little bit bigger than a shad rat, a little fatter body, kind of maybe more like a bomber, but it's got this long, deep diving bill. But if you look at it, the bills, and I don't know if you can see them, there's all kinds of imperfections and whatnot in there. And so what I do is I take some steel wool and I rough up these bills and then I tape them up and I spray them down. Let me show you what I'm doing. All right. So what I've got here is some baits that have already been, the bills have been prepped, they've been retaped up, and they've been primed. But when I get these things, here's how I start out. Like I said, these look kind of funky, and I want them to be nice and clear. So what I do is I just take, this is some, can't remember if this is 2/0 or 3/0 steel wool, and I will rough up the bills really good. And there may be other ways to do this. I was thinking of maybe getting some Scotch-Brite, but I had a ton of steel wool, so we'll use steel wool. The only issue is you get a little steel dust. But basically what you do is you just rough it up. Now you see it's kind of opaque. So the next step is we tape them up. All right, so next step is tape them up with some blue masking tape. Whoops. Now, I use a lot of this stuff. Basically, what I'm just trying to do is protect the main part of the body. I'll put that one there. Drop my tape. We'll cut a second piece, and we can reuse this tape when we're done. And then I just tape up across the bottom. Doesn't have to be perfect. This bill, it's not going to get painted. So there you go. Now I have a lure body that is protected. And we'll take it outside and put some of this Rust-Oleum 2X Gloss Clear. I'll be right back. All right, we'll take this outside. I just usually I wear a glove, but really light coat on both sides of that. And I take her back in the house. And we put it on the rack, on the rotisserie. Now you can see, I've already got a bunch already on there, but we'll put that one up there. And we'll give that about an hour to get tacky, and then I'll put a second coat on it. And then I'll put it back on this rotisserie for overnight, and they'll be ready to go tomorrow. Let me show you one. These have already been done, and you can see how nice and clear and glossy that bill is. That's after 2 coats. So these are ready to get moved to the next phase. All right, so phase 2, after you've got the bills clear coated with a couple of coats of clear and they've dried up nice, then the next step is to protect them from paint. So then what I do is I use that same tape and I run that around the bill. Take the other piece and we start up here. We get as close to the body as we can. Boom. Then I like to trim it off just so there's not so much tape hanging out there. And there you have it. Bill has been roughed up and then given 2 coats of 2X Clear from Rust-Oleum. And then I'll put it on a helping hands and it'll be ready to prime. Now here I have a bunch of, I say a bunch, 4 of these 110 jerk baits. This seems to be the most popular bait that I've painted so far. I've probably sold more of these than anything else. And you can see they have a very small bill. So, you know, some people paint those bills, but I like to keep the bills separate. But pulled the tape off the body, the protective tape off the body, and now we'll give it a protective tape on the bill. I cut a lot of this stuff off, but I try to reuse, you know, my tape for both processes. And just trim that off and hang it over here. This is my my wall of prepped baits that are ready to be painted. So that's the process. All right, so there you have it. That's the process on how I take a lure blank with kind of a imperfect bill and convert that into something that is nice and clear and free of those imperfections. Pretty simple stuff. Now, stay tuned for next week's video because I'm going to be painting these 2 super simple patterns that any beginner can do. And I believe these will catch fish. I've got a tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. I think this thing is going to hammer the post-spawn smallmouth. So stay tuned. Thanks for coming along today. We'll see you next time. Peace.